Good afternoon, collectors and friends. Welcome to Leighton's Loft. How are you today, Lou? Happy New Year.
Doing very well. Happy New Year. Good to see you. We haven't connected in a bit.
Yeah, what's up, Cuff Daddy and James? What's up, Mike? Thanks for joining us, Chris. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. And of course, I know for the last couple of weeks, I feel like it was J5 and the gang. So I appreciate them filling in. You know what's really funny, Lou? I was doing trading card therapy recently, and I guess we use either the same or a similar background. And a guy that I know for a while who doesn't necessarily watch Leighton's Loft was like, "Oh, wow, Leighton, I didn't realize you're into piano."
I know your green screen looks great in the new office.
It does. Yeah. What's up, Kev? And we got Chris Gilmore coming in this afternoon. So feeling, like I said, very appreciative and grateful, of course, for the new year. And I was back on the tennis court today. And I would say for those that, go through ups and downs in life with physical activity, meaning like the gym or, activities, I just had a lot of stuff going on between the move and then, with my son and vacations and this and that. I wasn't able to commit to something regularly.
Yep.
And it's funny, we moved our offices, Lou, and I still have friends over at the old place. My son still gets a lesson there, but I'm not like a formal member anymore. Anyway, there's a new tennis facility near our new office, literally like a third of a mile away. And I walk in the first day, I'm like really bright-eyed and excited. And I just keep asking questions about stuff for myself and for my son. And I guess it's really popular here. So I couldn't get in for weeks.
Wow.
And then I got a call yesterday. They're like, "Can you show up this morning at 9:30 a.m. for an evaluation?" Okay. I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds fun."
Yeah.
Who's evaluating me? And then, I'm like, I was joking around because I didn't really care because I don't know my level, formally and stuff. Hey, what's up, Mike? So anyway, I went and it was really just so great to be back out in the court. And so I'm encouraging you, like I said, it doesn't matter if you do puzzles, you play chess, you're playing tennis, pickleball, just use your mind. Listen, we all want to make money.
Yep.
Of course. And we all want to be there for our loved ones, right? For our significant others, for our kids, for our coworkers, for our friends. But man, if you forget to be there for yourself sometimes, I can tell you, I feel really just so much better than I normally would have. Like my legs are tired. I can feel that. Yeah. They made me work. But I feel so much better. I feel like mentally and spiritually from not just going out there today, Lou, but I basically bothered them for like 3 different times in a week.
Yeah.
Because all I wanted to do was just find out what was available. And then they had something new pop up. And, I kind of manifested this tennis situation, this lesson to happen, this class.
Yep.
And then, there could be a lot of different reasons to complain. They didn't have this, they didn't have that. I didn't think about any of that. Like, this place is great. And they asked me where I played before. They're like, "Oh, aren't the courts better at Orange Lawn?" Who gives a shit? I'm not a professional tennis player. Yeah, it's a little easier on the knees. You got to realize the other place was super swanky. People are driving around, and don't be wrong, it was a wonderful place. It was fun. I don't need to be part of a place like that, but it did have a pool, and because it wasn't a golf club, it was actually a really good deal for a guy like myself, who's a single dad with a 9-year-old son who does play tennis, who loves the pool. It actually wasn't bad, as far as the overall, like the amenities, what they offered.
It's amazing what a little physical activity would do. This is a great time of year to do it. You're getting out of the Christmas thing, and we've had a couple of storms up here. We've been battling ever since the beginning of January here, it seems, with the weather. So it's just great to get just a little physical activity and just snap yourself back into it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It feels great. I encourage everyone else out there to do the same. Afternoon, Michael. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for tuning in, Nick. So, Lou, I just want to say it early. We're going to do a fun participation promo today because we have our big event ending this Sunday for Vintage Breaks.
Yep.
And of course, you can find out all the details about that on our website at vintagebreaks.com. But there's a Mickey Mantle up for grabs, 54 Bowman, a lot of other great stuff. We're going to give away 3 different break credits. First place is going to get a $75 break credit, courtesy of Vintage Breaks and Just Collect. Second place will be a $50 break credit to vintagebreaks.com, and third place will be a $25 credit. And of course, if you spend it before this Sunday, you'll be eligible at the very least to be entered into the Buy Any Spot promo, and there's some really fun prizes there.
Excellent. J5 gave away the house last week, right?
Oh, I heard. I pretended that when he was starting to tell me about it, I'm like, "I'm sorry, excuse me, what?" But sometimes you reap what you sow, and I wasn't able to make it. So He's like, "You sure you want me to do this?" I kind of remember him sounding a little bit weird, Lou.
Yep.
Like I was still a little sick. You know how it is when you're sick.
Yep.
He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna whatever." Like I don't eat vegetables that much. I eat certain vegetables, but if someone's like, "I'm bringing you a plate of lima beans, broccoli, and sauteed cauliflower," I'd rather be dead.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you.
There's other vegetables I'll eat, but not those I just named.
Yeah, I gotcha.
What's up, BK? So I'm curious. Let me know in the chat, right? Because let's be honest, for a lot of us, and I do go to the gym. I go to the gym to run, to do the treadmill, simply just to be conditioned for tennis. And I could sense from playing today for just the one time of being off for a little bit.
Yep.
It definitely affects you. So that constant having on the schedule is something that I was looking forward to. So I now have it on the schedule for Wednesday morning. So I wanted to ask the gang here who's tuned in today, or if you're listening to this live afterwards, besides the gym, right? Because that's a very obvious thing.
Yep.
Are you playing pickleball? Do you yourself fancy tennis? Listen, I do like softball and I play softball. I just don't think it's particularly a great workout. But I'm curious, like Nick, right, is north of the border. So for him, playing outdoor tennis certainly is not very feasible most of the year.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But, maybe there's something going on in your neck of the woods. I like to find out about new sports. And for those that don't know where I live in Hoboken. And there's a sports, I guess, organization called Zog Sports, which organizes, Lou, literally anything and everything from like bowling to flag football. They don't have tennis, but they have pickleball. And I think I'm going to join because it's just good to be social, but I'd rather be tennis.
Yeah, Chris is right. I do what Chris does. I do the walk rather than running because it's safer. And I don't want to beat up my knees all that much.
Well, Crosby and I walk on the days I have him that are basically not probably – we'll go through October, take off November, December, January, maybe February, but like definitely in March we're walking every day. And, Hoboken's a place you walk everywhere anyway.
Have you tried pickleball? Because, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I've tried it, and I enjoy it. I just like tennis a lot more, and I also think tennis is a better workout.
Daniel, my only physical activity in Hoboken is walking from bar to bar and a pub crawl. There you go.
And listen, that, for many of you, could be considered to be a worthwhile activity, and depending on the night of the week, it is a worthwhile activity for me. I'm just trying to have something a little bit more scheduled. And to be fair, right, there's a wall that I hit against near my house. I like playing tennis against someone rather than a wall.
Yep, absolutely. Kevin says he walks at least 20 minutes a day. Shadow boxing, heavy bag, good for him. That's good stuff.
Yeah, Kev, so I stretch every day, even if I don't play tennis or run. I've heard about shadow boxing and how it's such a great workout. I'm curious how long Kev's been doing it for.
A lot of core exercises.
Core exercises, yeah. Yeah, building up your core is great.
Yeah, I've kind of backed into instead of the weight training, I've kind of backed into the body weight type of exercises, push-ups and squats and that type of thing.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate everyone sharing. So next weekend, I want to talk card shows for a minute. Is anyone out there going to any card shows this weekend or next weekend? Because, Lou, next weekend, I believe, I want to confirm with the team, but we're exhibiting at the White Plains show at the White Plains Convention Center. I'm excited about that.
Okay, excellent. Yep. White Plains is a good trip.
Yeah, and, for us here, I was talking to a buddy of mine in the industry. Lou, if you can avoid the expense of the hotels as well as not being away from your family, right? Because Friday, even if you had to work, it doesn't matter really kind of where you work. Maybe the hour's a little bit different. But Saturday, of course, and Sunday, I think like Saturday's the better of the two. We might even just wrap up after Saturday. But you don't have to stay over, which is nice.
Daniel's going to be at White Plains.
Looking forward to seeing you, Daniel. Yeah, I should be able to, like I said, be there Friday and part of Saturday. Saturday will be fun. I'll be with my son.
Hey, James, I do that a lot. Walking my dog. It's a good excuse to get out.
Absolutely. So for those of you that didn't hear the episode or listen to it, please check out my 51st episode. It was last week's show, Trading Card Therapy. If you like to watch and are into the video component, you can actually find it on my YouTube channel, Just Collect. If you just want to listen to it, you, of course, can do that on Spotify, Apple, wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast. But yeah, last week's episode I thought was a fun one, gang, because I went over my hobby wish list. And one of those wishes I want to discuss here today which is a uniformed and universal popper port. And for those that don't quite know what I mean, listen, I think whatever grading company you like is great. And maybe, there has to be certain specs and certain requirements that you'll have to reach as a grading company to be accepted into this universal popper port.
Right.
But I would love to know, I know Daniel is a tobacco collector. Lou, it is exhausting sometimes to figure out if you have, let's just say, like an SGC T206 and a tougher back, or even a Beckett. You're like, how do I find out how rare it is? You have to go to PSA's popper port. You have to go to SGC's popper port. Mm-hmm. You have to go to Beckett's popper port. From there, and listen, ISA definitely grades some tobacco. CSG definitely grades some tobacco. But at some point, you have to say, listen, I'm going to cut it off. I'm not going to do further research because it's just not really available.
Yep. How would you meld that between different types of grading? Because are they, in fact, different examples? If there's if they're graded by a different grading company, are those two different examples of the same card, or two different cards, or are they two examples of the same card?
Oh, so clearly, Lou, what I would like to do, and once again, this is all in theory, but this is the collector nerd in me. I would like to have, for example, a T206 Hal Chase has several different variations. Let's just say it's the pink portrait. Mm-hmm. And let's just say he's got cards graded by PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CGC. I would like it to say 14 of them have been graded by PSA, 11 of them graded by CSG, so on and so forth, and then have the breakdown of the grades across, but it still would tell you if it was a PSA 4 or an SGC 4. Yep. Once again, it doesn't necessarily mean your cards are going to be more valuable or less valuable. I just would personally prefer this as a collector, as an enthusiast, and as someone who does this professionally. I do find it sometimes difficult to get to the answer I want as quickly as I would like in terms of the data.
Right. That sounds like a good project for Vintage Breaks.
Sure, with all of our free time.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, Lou, didn't you see? I'm trying to learn the piano. I don't have a ton of free time.
That's right. You're trying to learn the piano.
They were talking about core exercise. Yeah, I've been working the core. I felt it today. I've been doing the push-ups. Like I said, really excited about tennis. And then, it's definitely rusty, but it's nice to get out there. Listen, how it is hitting baseballs. I got a buddy. His name is Johnny Hustle, Johnny Ludo. He's, north of 50. He plays he might even be north of 60 these days. He plays in a hyper-competitive hardball league. Nice. And I'll tell you, as I kind of get my schedule situated, in my current life, because I do business with Johnny as well. I want to know, listen, let's be honest. Playing hardball baseball is awesome. It is definitely so much more dangerous than softball.
Definitely.
But yeah. I have a buddy of mine in South Jersey. His name's Sean. He started playing about 2 seasons ago, somewhere age than me. He was a good ball player. And he just said, he's like, you just start to have like those butterflies come back. And you start to feel like in a kid in a way. And to me, like I said, that's what's happening with tennis and being active. So, I'm hoping maybe at some point later this year, because I feel like I'm a very good hitter, definitely not that fast, but can certainly still crank at the plate.
Yeah, stay with softball, though. I mean, you get more bang for your buck from an activity and a social standpoint at this point. It's just
socially, yes. But listen, if I want to be social, I'm going to play pickleball. That's, I'm being honest. That's why I'm doing it.
I'm
not doing it for the workout. I'm going to do it because I want to, meet peeps.
It's a great sport for the young bucks, but boy, it's tough to get a little older. You need much more, much more lightning reflexes for the game as you get a little bit older.
Oh, well, listen, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tentative because I asked my buddy, I'm like, so they're just like, they're pitching, full. And he's like, yeah, well, some of the pitchers are better than others. I'm like, just talk to me about like, how often are people getting cranked, like kerplunked?
Yeah.
He's like, not that often, but he's like, it definitely took, I appreciate him being honest. He's like, it definitely took me a while to get used to, right? Because let's be clear, because I've done this at the Point Pleasant batting cage. I always go to the fastest. I can still rip, but Lou, they're not going to try to hit me. They're not going to come close.
They're not going to try. So, they may hit you, but they're not going to.
It's possible. Listen, I know it's possible that it goes errant, but
pretty physically demanding fastball at this point. Hardball.
Yes. Plays bare hand softball. Oh, I'm not doing that. No.
I know. And we got a bunch of guys here who do vintage baseball, by the way. They're playing like late 1800s rules and stuff like that. and they play barehanded, and it's fun to watch. I wouldn't want to get out and do it, but it's fun to watch.
Absolutely. I think there's an organization in Hoboken that does that.
Yep.
Nick is right. I think PSA, if you bring up Nick's comment, Nick M brings up and says in regards to a universal pop report, PSA will never let that happen. And, something I learned years ago, and for those of you who are watching the show that don't know, if you are a member of the set registry on PSA,
mm-hmm.
and, you register some sets, and I believe you might have to check this box off, but there's a feature where you can get, for example, you can get notified, Lou, automatically from the auction houses that participate in this particular feature. Let's just say you have an 8 in your set of Lou Brock 77 tops,
right? And
a 9 becomes available for sale. Instead of having to comb all of the auctions, the PSA set registry is going to let you know, by the way, there's an upgrade available for you for sale at auction.
See, they're doing some database work, but whether they expand it beyond their own company and their own grading, that's a whole nother story, right?
Well, I'm going to take a pause here for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud of this. However, in the end, didn't make enough, and you'll hear the story. So Just Collect and my former business partner, Scott, who was in IT, we collaborated on this idea. We were actually sending out PSA set registry email blasts for a lot of auction houses for a while. We were selling the services. Now, clearly, we were using their data. We believe that we were within our right to do that.
Yep.
I believe PSA changed something in the fine print. So PSA came to us, and they're like, I remember this. Got some sort of letter. By the way, this is all pre-Nat Turner. This is when Joe Orlando was at the helm. And, got some sort of notification, blah, blah, blah. PSA is asking you to relinquish. We're like, well, I don't want to do that. There's a nice stream of money coming in.
Yep.
So, we get a lawyer and, talk to the attorney. And really in the end, because I just want to skip all the foreplay and get right to what happened.
Yep.
Listen, we weren't happy. If we were a bigger company and had more resources,
yep,
we definitely would have fought. We believe that the data and the information was part of the public domain. We believe what we were doing was totally kosher. That being said, you understand, sometimes it's hard to stand up to the bigger proverbial, Goliath.
So Nick is right. They have some proprietary leanings towards that database.
So that's why I'm bringing it up in regards to the universal pop report. So basically, in the end, because we were not happy, they settled with us, and the settlement was whatever the day we settled the agreement. From that point forward, we relinquish everything, which is horrendous. But we didn't have to relinquish at least any of the previous revenue.
Yep.
But literally, we had to effectively give them all of our roadmap, and we played nice because remember, we're also doing business with them. We're grading cards. At that point, we were definitely grading a ton of cards. And this is all, of course, pre-COVID. So fast forward, and the reason why I brought this up is part of the conversation about the Universal Pop Report. I'm fairly certain that even if right now, legally we could scalp the data. When I say we, whatever organization or person would like to spearhead this effort, I believe you could scrape the pop report, but I am sure that as soon as you started doing it to cultivate a universal pop report, you're going to get some sort of letter.
How to generate revenue.
And basically they're just going to be letting you know that it's not your data. You didn't pay for a license to it. You could tell them it's public until you're blue in the face.
Yep.
Ultimately, do you want to get a lawyer? Do you want to fight? Or do you want to take your small victory, like is what we did back in the day, and said, well, at the very least, and I feel like this years later, at least we're smart enough to come up with something good.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Worth getting the lawyers involved. That's how good it was.
Yep. So what's up, Charles? Appreciate you tuning in.
I'm guessing there's probably some language in your agreement, even accessing the database, that probably implies that proprietary claim on that.
Oh, listen, most certainly. And to be fair, PSA is definitely owned by much more sophisticated people, candidly, than they were back, then.
Yeah.
And so they understand what their data is. They understand what they're trying to protect. And listen, in a way, I'm really grateful that in an industry which I remember graduating Rutgers College in 2000, people would have laughed at you and said,
Yeah.
you think that the population report data of how many baseball cards have been graded per grade is going to be valuable? People would have looked at you like,
Yep.
Lou, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Are you unwell? Do you need to be checked in somewhere?
I know, right? But how things have changed.
Yeah, so on that, what I'd like to know is a great segue. Please let me know in the chat right now, but then if you watch this episode afterwards, because I'm going to cover this in trading card therapy tomorrow, I'm going to take my own shots at it. Let me know how you think the hobby is going to change in 2024.
Ooh. Interesting.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Great seeing you.